In this video, we'll talk a little bit about how we design the SP Digital Workplace Solutions, which unify SharePoint and Office 365 to deliver a digital workplace. So our end goal was to deliver a digital workplace that provided an operational portal structure that was integrated with Office 365. But you just don't start out with this. You really need to have objectives. So our first objective was really to provide solutions that transforms the way business is done. Number one, empower employees to focus on their job and not technology. Provide everything they need at their fingertips on any device, anywhere, anytime. To offer a consistent structure in which to do business from across functions. Get rid of the silos. Have the ability to have communications, collaboration, information, and processes merged together in a common user experience. Simplify the IT infrastructure. Move from many siloed systems and platforms to a common platform, one that leverages a digital workplace and the components required for a digital workplace, and then to be able to integrate with core back office systems. And then most important is to be able to do it in a way that arms business people to control their own destinies or their own solutions. It had to be no code and 100% customizable. So you didn't require a band of programmers to make changes or implement things. And then finally, position for ongoing growth in technology, to take advantage of new technologies as it becomes available, not having to replace your entire systems to do it. And with the advent of Office 365 several years ago, and then Microsoft taking it further, we saw the ingredients for a platform for a digital workplace, which merged technology, the people that use it and collaborate and share ideas, and bringing in also content, documents, business intelligence, and merging that as well with the business processes that most organizations use to operate their business. All of that together in a common user experience. So let's first step back and see some of the rules that we developed our applications and portals under. The design rules. One of the first things is we decided it had to run on a common platform. And in fact, that platform should be the platform that most employees spend their day with, their front office system. And today, that's Office 365 in many cases, or MS Office for those that haven't moved to the cloud. And the key thing is to build these applications on the same platform already used for office automation. We also wanted to make sure we kept it native. In other words, taking advantage of SharePoint and Office 365 capabilities and not going outside of those capabilities. And then finally, leverage core services. Do not do things like create our own security or permissions. To use the Office 365 tools and administration. Don't create our whole own administration capabilities. And main thing is, if Office 365, the platform, already has it, don't reinvent things for no reason at all. The second part of the design rules was no code. It had to be easy to use and 100% customizable by business power users. No code solutions that business power users, those type of people that are, for instance, Excel experts or not programmers, can actually use and change and work with. It also had to support platform user interface guidelines so that there was a common experience, so that as you go from a portal or the intranet into 365 services such as Planner or email, that there was a common user experience. It didn't look like users were going into a completely different system. And then only add coded tools or utilities where the platform is lacking or complex. Things like tools for perhaps workflow or other things underneath the covers that make it easier to change the platform, but still keep it 100% customizable. And then finally, it really had to do beyond the technology and the development to deliver a best practices, intuitive, consistent structure in the context of the organization. Provide a portal design that was the same across all different departments to make it intuitive for employees to go in and use those portals cross-functionally no matter what department they're dealing with. Use a best practice design that we've learned from over 1,000 implementations. Let our experience guide us on what works and what doesn't work. And then processes like help desk or simple manager approvals and those type of things should be consistent across the entire set of applications so that it's easier to support as well as easier to use. And really what we were getting at was there's a new model out there. The old model used to be best of breed, and that's where a lot of companies really got into trouble. They grew organically and each department did what they wanted as far as getting the different applications to automate processes and make them more productive. The problem is, once you're outside of that department, it became a real complex infrastructure. And what was happening in the old model was that every application or system had their own user administration, reporting, backups, updates, and this was repeated over and over again, such that it made it very complex to manage, very complex for users to use. And the key thing is the main part of the application is really that application logic. So why are we rebuilding all of the same infrastructure underneath? And then second, every one of these users who use these applications also use that front office. So you have to integrate each of these applications with the different front office capabilities here too. So the old model of best of breed is problematic, and it actually increases the cost of those products because each of these vendors has to build this repeatedly themselves. And this is actually more cost to build in many cases than the application logic itself. So therefore, we decided that we were going to focus on and use a single platform. That is Office 365 as a platform. And to leverage things like groups, security, and documents, and workflow, and everything within that platform so that the administrator in IT can go in and use and manage those same things, not just for Office 365, but for our applications and portals as well. And then make sure that we do everything we can to enhance or actually make sure we use that common user experience built into that. So we also wanted to make sure that we didn't reinvent or have redundant functions. And so the other thing that Office 365 and Microsoft has done is to bring out some really powerful, neat services, such as things like People and Groups and Planner and Delve and Video and so on, all services that enhance collaboration as well as content management and sharing. So with all of this provided a great platform that we could build on, and what we did is we built the portals themselves on SharePoint and the logic around them. But it was very easy for us to do that because SharePoint already has an infrastructure for content management for portals, for processes with workflow and other things already built in, so that we could do it in a no-code fashion and take advantage of all the platform and services of Office 365, which allowed us to focus on the logic of the applications, the processes, and how information is presented in portals. So we have these workplace solutions, which really are SharePoint site templates. And we use native lists and libraries and pages. We also have a common user interface with Microsoft Office. And again, 100% customizable by power users. However, we ran into, through experience, some places where Office 365 or SharePoint needed some help as far as features and functions. So in that area, what we did is we actually added in a set of smart tools, as we call them, underneath the covers. And they don't change any ability to use native list libraries and anything native, but they add to the capabilities of the modules and portals and applications. And they allow us to have enhanced forms. Also to do email notifications and alerts much easier than, say, workflow in SharePoint. Same with actions and extending SharePoint to add 50 different additional functions that can be done. And then a data import and smart data tool. And finally, a way to integrate, for instance, Excel and Word documents with SharePoint data to either generate documents or to pull data from, say, an Excel expense report into SharePoint. So these are a set of underlying services. Think of it as a toolkit that we've added that allows us to do a lot more things within SharePoint to build these solutions. The other great thing about these tools is they're all easy to use. There's, again, no coding involved in them, and they're really oriented to allow the power user to do what they need to do going forward. And this really gets back to the whole concept of empowering the business users and really allowing them to have control of their own destiny with the application solutions. So we've talked a lot about behind the scenes, but the other really important thing is a common user experience across Office 365. And this is where we see a lot of vendors make mistakes. You know, they're bringing out these beautiful intranet pages, but they used a lot of code, they changed master pages, and it doesn't even look like Office 365 anymore. And so with the thought that most users are going to be in 365 using services out there of 365 like Delve and like Power BI and Planner and so on, you want to make it pretty seamless between SharePoint and Office 365. So that's the other part of it. We built the user interface to be able to make it so that the user hardly knows when they're in the portal and SharePoint versus Office 365 services. And in fact, we take that even further to integrate and bring data between the two and exchange data as part of this. So that now you don't just have portals, but you have portals that unify the Office 365 services as part of what they're doing. So that's really the technology. But now let's talk about the design of the structure. We also have a best practices approach to the structure. And this is, again, what we found in deploying this in over 1,000 organizations worldwide over the last 5 years. And we found that this structure, with an intranet portal at the top that serves as kind of the organizational hub, the communication point, collaboration point, but it's also a navigation point as well. And that's at the top. The next level down may be new to many organizations. This is the concept of creating an employee central, or something that employees can go to that gathers all the relevant things from the different departments that they use quite a bit and need to do their jobs. So it includes, for instance, a document central where they can go and get policies and procedures across the organization in one place, find what they need as far as resources and documents. Now, we're not talking about detailed documents like a quick start card from IT for 365. We're talking about, the employee handbook type things. It might be expense policies. It might be even security policies and so on, all in one place. The second thing that we do is we consolidate and make consistent how employees get services from the organization. And that's through Help Central. So instead of 10 different ways for 10 different departments to get services, whether it be using a help desk with IT or a work order system with facilities, or just plain telephone tag with HR or admin, that all is very time consuming and non-productive for both the department and the employee. So therefore, we've created Help Central, which is a central help desk that actually allows the employee to fill out a request and have that request taken into the department service request systems and have a common service request system across the organization. And then finally, it's what we call Process Central. And really what it is employee-facing business processes that they may use every day. Time off requests, expense reports, travel requests, those type of things. We actually have a place that you can actually put those processes into with a common set of approval processes. So managers can also go in and do approvals. And if you think about a lot of processes, that first set of approvals is usually your manager and maybe in some cases your manager's manager and as well. So why not centralize? Why not make that the same? And it's also something you can add your existing manual processes that you may be doing with electronic documents into that. And then finally, it also is a place that you can link to outside systems such as your ERP system, payroll, or whatever. So right there, you've got everything the employee needs in a central place for most of their work. Now, the next area down is the department. And departments, the key thing here is consistency of design across these portals. And departments really have two areas. They have the staff portal, which is where the staff collaborates, they do work, they may even do business processes such as, in IT, doing change requests or asset tracking, in HR, onboarding or review management, and so on. So you've got the operational aspect of those department portals, as well as the collaborative aspects of having those teams be able to collaborate and leveraging some of those 365 services like Groups and Planner from that portal. There's a really important difference, though, from a team site on this is every one of these departments also has an employee portal. And think of it as the place that employees come to get services from that department, like a bank branch. And so each department also has a separate My IT, My HR, whatever it might be, place that an employee can go to get resources, services, and put in even service requests there as well. Each department also has the same type of service request system that interacts with Help Central. So this is the design that we go by. And of course, they can be put in different kind of structure, like with divisions or something like that. You could have departments below that as well and sub-intranets. But what we see is you've got your intranet, which many people are familiar with, which really has the news and announcements and communications, and you could do such things as discussions and employee directory and so on, and navigate from it. But where it really is important is the active portion of this. You really want these departments to be able to actually supply some of the content up here. So if HR has a new employee, they may want to announce that employee up on the intranet home site that says, welcome, Joe Smith or Mary Wilson. IT may have a planned system outage that they may want to post up here. So they can actually do news and announcements down in their departments and click a box and it'll push it up here and alert the content manager. This is what we call active content. Content coming from the operation, not necessarily the content manager chasing people around to find what the news is. And same with events. We also have connections here between the employee services side of it and the department. So a help desk request is put in for fixing a laptop or a monitor, and it goes over to the IT department. And up here, the employee can still get statuses and updates, while the IT department can also go in and assign the ticket and track it and so on. So again, links between the modules. If HR is developing a new policy, they can do all the revisions and so on, and even we have electronic acknowledgement for policies. But once it's published, it goes up into the Doc Center. As well as if there's a travel request done from Process Central, it can be pushed down to Finance or whoever has to process that. So it very much works together in a full operational and active portal structure. So most of you are familiar with the intranet homepage. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that here, but what I am going to do is really cover something that may be new to many people, the operational portals. And this is really the function of many operations and really employee services and employees being able to get what they need to do their jobs. So if we take a look at the operational portals, as we said, there's a staff portal. Every staff portal has a service desk. It has task tracking, or even down to small project tracking, document management, a knowledge base for idea management, as well as a workspace for the staff person in there that they can see a collection of everything they need to do. And there are site pages that as well for dashboards, as well as calendars and so on. And again, a Power BI dashboard. So this is really what's in a staff portal. Then you add in the different processes that make up that. And so for IT, it could be a full-on help desk, change management, asset management, maybe vendor management as well in there. For facilities, it could be tracking work orders, it could be tracking facilities, assets, preventative maintenance, and those kind of plug-in applications there. Now, the other side of it, as we mentioned, is what we call a service portal. This is the My Employee portals. And the way these are designed in a consistent way is to have it as a place the employees can come into. They can't get into this, and it actually automatically routes them to this by a redirect based on their permissions and who they are. But here, this is really meant for self-service. So they can go in and get answers from a knowledge base. They can make service requests into here. They can see different events, get different resources such as documents and media and so on, all in this portal. And the great thing is a lot of what the information they can get is filtered just for them too. So this is really what an operational portal is all about. It's very different than, say, Microsoft Groups, which is peer-to-peer collaboration. This is really built specifically for a department that provides services out. Now, the other part of it too, and I mentioned, that each of these operational portals have applications. We have workplace applications that, in essence, plug into these portals. Examples of them might be help desks or time off requests and so on. They tend to be employee partner or constituent-facing applications. They're not your main accounting system or transaction engine or inventory system. It's really process applications built around employees getting what they need. And other things like policy management, performance reviews, and onboarding are part of these. And typically manual processes, again, like I mentioned, travel requests. A lot of times that's still a manual process. They now can be put into this with forms and email approval in kind of a standard way. In many cases, these may link to back office systems such as payroll from the time off type of system. And these back office systems are typically designed for functional staff use only. And so in some cases, we may even front end some of these systems as well. And the other thing too is we really push that these need to be digital workplace applications. In other words, like the portals, they're built on Office 365 as the common platform using common administration, that they continue the whole common user experience and they're launched from the portals themselves, and that they integrate with Office 365 services such as time off request feeds, a Office 365 time off calendar out there as well, or you can feed OneDrive or other things. So again, these are really things that work and are part of operational portals, but they're built as standalone applications that do specific processes. Next, let's talk about how these portals fit in your infrastructure. So first of all, they really serve a purpose of really unifying SharePoint, Office 365, and your back office applications. So if we take a look at it, the first thing that you're going to find that a staff portal, let's say an HR group will want, is they want a group site. They want to be able to have a place to share and collaborate and so on. And that's really part of Microsoft Office groups. And you'll find that things like calendars will be actually part of Office 365 groups. Tasks may become used with Planner. Different dashboards will be done with Power BI as well. And then finally, you may even have, shared document storage that you're collaborating on, types of things, with OneDrive. And so that's really the fit with Office 365, is to have a natural place, and it's usually around collaboration, that you're going to be fitting with the Office 365 services as well. And second, obviously you've got back office systems in many cases. So the other thing is you're going to want to be able to have these process applications, and they'll either front those back office applications, or they may just literally be a hyperlink out to that back office application. Things like ERP, HRIS, and so on can again be made as a natural part of this portal where access to it at the right point and where it makes sense is put in. And in some cases, you may want to front end it, or you may want it to feed things like Power BI within the portal as well. So let's take a look at what this might look like. Here, for instance, is a marketing department. And the marketing department actually will see several parts here that either go out to other systems or out to 365 services. This is the staff homepage for marketing. So here we can see it actually brings in planner tasks and projects right here. They can link out to Dell for documents, or go to Power BI or Planner for the dashboards here as well, or group discussions. The other thing too is links out to other systems. So their bulk email or their campaigns tool is Campaign Monitor, which is a hosted tool, and Canva is a graphics creation tool. And so what we have here is a way to actually not only get department news and information, but to seamlessly go to other tools and everything that brings it in as part of their workday and their operation. So we've talked about the design. Let's talk about underneath the covers, these power tools or smart tools. And what we can find here is we've got a set of tools that allow us to extend SharePoint and extend 365. So for instance, a lot of times we're going to want to have enhanced forms. We may even want to have forms that look one way for one user, say as for a end user submitting a IT case ticket, but also display other fields and tabs from that same list to, let's say, the IT person that's actually working on the ticket. So the ability to control and customize the forms out there. The second thing would be things like notifications. So across the board, no matter what you're doing, you're going to need to notify people of things. You're going to need to alert people of overdue things, or you may need to share things through email. And typically that was done with workflow, and you need to be somewhat of a SharePoint expert. But this notifications tool actually extends way beyond what SharePoint can do in notifications without writing complex workflows. And the next one here is really actions. This is the action side of it, not just notifying through email or text or whatever, but actually having things done like, let's say, a certification reminder goes out and somebody updates the new certification due date. That may need to update the employee record in HR. And so that's an action. And again, those can be set up. You can even do such things and extends it to as, a new hire comes in, and you can have an action that creates a new 365 user ID automatically, if that's what your IT group wants to do. And so it actually adds new features out there, up to 50 of them, beyond what standard SharePoint does. And so this is kind of our power tool pack. You also have Smart Data, which allows you to import emails, web forms, even data from external sources. And finally, the integration tools with Office 365. They allow you to take data from SharePoint lists and push them and do a mail merge with Word documents or pull data from Excel. Beyond our smart tools, you can also make use of Office 365 tools like Flow, Power Apps, and connectors. Another kind of rule is that you should not have to be a SharePoint expert to be the application administrator. So be able to do application administration from a very easy to use type of environment. So if you want to update news or add new links to the content catalog for the links on the intranet page, or even do things like change the colors or fonts, you should be able to do that without going into site contents in SharePoint and so on. And so we've even taken the approach of make it easy into application administration and content management. And then the other key thing is make it customizable using basic SharePoint Power User Interface tools. So if you want to change the layout of the page, you're using standard SharePoint page editing. And you can do things like changing the navigation, changing content and colors and fonts and logos and filters, and do all of that using standard basic SharePoint. So you can just take a Power User course in SharePoint and learn how to do this as well. Even things like creating new fields or columns should be very easy and done. So what you end up with is a set of next generation solutions that can grow with you and take advantage of new technologies from the Office 365 platform. You get one platform for your employees that serves as an organizational hub and a digital workplace, which provides one common user experience for them to get at what they need to do their job. A consistent, intuitive structure that really brings together and unifies your cross-functional services and in the context of how you work. And the great thing is it's flexible and can grow with your needs. And then most important of all, you're in control of your destiny. You don't have to go to a vendor. You don't have to hire programmers or consultants. You can do it as part of the design itself. So I'll just end up with one other thing, is if you're interested in really being empowered to take this where you want, you really should inquire about our DIY Academy. We have training that can get your application administrator up to speed to be able to do all these things, again, in a no-code environment. Thanks for taking the time, and we hope you get many years of productive use from our solutions.